Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at the Fighting Armor Captain America by Sentinel. As usual, this video right here would not have been possible without those awesome people over at Hobby Japan, so if you want one of your own, link in the description. So jumping right on into the aesthetics, right here with the Captain America Fighting Armor. Before I mention anything, the reason I'm actually taking a look at this today is because I know these have been out for a little while, but it's that Loki that's coming out next February that's got me super interested. So I just wanted to check one out in the meantime. I noticed there's an awful lot of these Iron Man-ified other Marvel characters coming out from different Japanese companies, and I have taken a look at, but I never posted, the Tech on Avengers Iron Man. Both are very nice figures. Sadly, I don't actually have the Tech on Avengers Iron Man around for a comparison as of right now. Sure, feck it, I just don't be lazy. No, wait. Yeah, it's in that box at the bottom of that pile. Screw it, I'll take it out. So yeah, that took a little bit more searching around than I actually care to admit. It was deeper in that box than I thought. And there is a comparison to 3-Zero's Iron Patriot. So if you're wondering just how tall this actually comes in at, a little over 6 inches. Ever so slightly. Anyway, properly jumping into the aesthetics now at that full 360-degree spin. And the first thing I noticed when I got this out of the box is that color. This is ridiculously glossy, shiny, and metallic. The blue on this is literally out of this world with just how rich it is. The red on here is very nice. It's a little bit more subdued compared to the metallic blue, and all of the white on this is in a nice pearl. So all of these colors are completely over the top. Zooming in on the head there, and there is a little bit of a kind of line around the mouthpiece right there of where the paint is actually coming over from the blue. That is not noticeable in reality. Actually, I only noticed it through the camera, but besides that, all the paint applications on this are phenomenal. So like I mentioned, there is another line of figures that have Iron Man-ified some Marvel characters, and that would be the Tech on Avengers, just like the Iron Man we just saw. Here's an example of what the Captain America looks like from that particular line, and for me personally, I do prefer what Sentinel have done with this particular fighting armor as opposed to the Tech on Avenger, especially with the way they've done that, what I can only describe as Captain America corset, with the white and red stripes on the abdomen. That looks so good. Anyway, zooming in a little bit more, and there's so much nice subtle detail all over this. I will mention the actual swap in color from blue to the pearlescent white on the arms. This isn't actually where the bicep swivel is. This is actually done through, I assume, some kind of masking or something like that. And it's very nice. If you're getting really close, it looks a little on the blurry side, but that's only super close. Down on the legs, the detail is absolutely ridiculous. I like the layering on the upper and lower legs where you can actually see into a more, I assume, inner aspect of the armor that is done in a very nice bright silver, and the repulsors all over the place, especially on the backs of the legs, looks really cool. Now I will mention something that I did notice about this particular figure, and that is that the joints, like the joint right there in the upper leg, and this one right here in the back of the knee, well, this one kind of stands out the most. It would be the same there in the armpit as well, but it really shows the most here on the back of the knee. And that is that this is done in a plastic, and it is unpainted, and it does stand out a little bit against the other blue. Personally, I do think this is a good idea, because if it is paint on a joint, it could scratch. Maybe the plastic wouldn't be as strong if it was a painted or plated plastic, so I guess it does work out in the end. However, the blue on this particular figure is two-toned. I noticed the red is too, especially towards the sides of the feet. But yeah, the blue is actually in 2 shades. That is predominantly a very striking blue, and we've got a almost more greenish blue, if you could even call that, running down the front of the legs. It's in towards the joints in the crotch zone. And we've got some of it up on the shoulders as well, but I don't know how well this will actually show up on camera. And I have to say, my favorite aspect of this particular design is the fact they actually amalgamated the straps that hold Captain America's shield on into the armor design with some thrusters attached around back. And that's just plain cool. So now jumping into the accessories, and here's everything that comes inside of the box. That, of course, is Captain America's iconic shield, 6 hands in total, and we do have a full action basin stand here too. So first off in here we've got the hands, 6 in total, 2 which are the fists that have been attached this to the whole review so far. The other pairs then are a pair of widespread ones for using those repulsors, flying poses, etc. These look very nicely sculpted. And finally then we've got a pair of hands for holding onto the shield, so you can hold it left or right-handed. Now at first I thought these actually detached and attached really easily, which made me very, very happy because sometimes some figures come with hands that just are so hard to get on and off again. That was until I got to the holding hands. For some reason, these were ridiculously tough to attach. I guess it may make sense, actually it makes a lot of sense, considering these will actually have to hold on to something and will need that extra grip to stay in position. Let's check them out. So the only piece of equipment or weapon we have in here is this shield. Now, the paintwork on this is just as fantastic as it is on the actual figure itself. Now, this is the first time I've actually noticed this, but this metal color, or the white I should say, which is in a pearlescent, actually has what seems to be a matte finish to it. It's not shiny like you can see there with the blue and the high gloss red. So that's an actual nice use of different finishes. That looks so cool. Around back, see, doesn't reflect the light at all. It's nice and diffuse. You can see the details in there very nicely. That is a cool effect. As for what is going on around back, we've got this handle with a whole bunch of articulation, can extend out just like so, move like this and that and like this again, and rotate all the way around. Getting this into the hand is super simple. You just slot the peg handle into the hand like so, holds on perfectly fine. You can arrange all that articulation then to get it up onto the arm into that iconic position, move him around a little bit, get it into a pose, and then there you go. There he is about to throw that shield. Now I will mention, there is the matter of the articulation on this particular guy, and that is the fact that you're able to bring this out like so, into this position right here. I don't even know what to call this. For one, the articulation and the joints are a little bit on the weak side, so it flops around when it's held out like this. When it's held out like this, it kind of looks like some kind of odd umbrella or mushroom or something. It's not very Captain America-y. And honestly, in the end, holding it like this, he's looking a little bit like a spare prick. Yeah, I'm not sure what they were thinking there. Honestly now, I don't think the likes of, Civil War and all that be all that dynamic and awesome if he was just going around kind of springbocking people with a shield on a thing like this. I mean, seriously. Look, it's Rygar! That must be a 30-something-year-old game now. Anyway, moving on. So the last accessory we have in here is this stand. This is very nice looking. First off, there is a little bit of prep once you get this out of the box. You need to remove one of these little line panel clear segments like so. Pop the little holdy part here of the arm off, throw the arm into that line, pop the holdy part back on again. So this does have a side-to-side sliding mechanism on it. We do have a little windowed section in the bottom, which is a really cool aspect. If you use this with some kind of light source or something like that, you might have yourself a very cool display. I assume it's meant to mimic like the Hall of Armors or something similar like that. So if you get a whole bunch of these figures, pop them together, some kind of light source underneath, it could look fairly kick-ass underlit. So when it comes out of the box, the stand here has this little grabby segment up top. I found this isn't actually all that useful for holding on to Captain America itself due to the weight, but what you actually do here is pop this off and there's a hole in the back of the figure you can attach this into. I'll also mention this is great for just standing poses out of the box, but I found it is a little bit loose for up in the air poses. I will mention though, this does have screws at multiple points along its length, so that means all you have to do is tighten these up when it is up in the air, so this then holds perfectly. I'd say they just leave it somewhat loose out of box so you're not overly pressuring it every time you're moving it, so I say get it into the position you want, and then just lock it into position with these screws, and it seems nice and secure. I almost totally forgot to mention when I was taking a look at the shield, but you're actually able to mount the shield up back as well, just by attaching the handle segment into this little groove up behind the back of the head to mount the shield onto Captain America's back in that super iconic kind of way. So we'll mention one minor gripe I do have about this figure, which kind of, has a good aspect to it too, and that is we don't have any kind of repulsor thrust or blast effects in the box. Now, with a lot of these Iron Man kind of figures, you do get something like this. 3A, all of their figures, they always come with some kind of blaster thrust, and the Iron Man tech on Avenger, that also did as well. So nothing like that is included for flying poses with this, sadly, but the plus point to that is none of these repulsors are actually missing this central aspect to them. So they're not just a big old hole in the figure, they actually have a nice little blue segment in the middle. So it's a little bit of a trade-off, so I'm not sure which you prefer. Personally, I would have liked some blast effects for in the feet, but it's still pretty awesome without them. So finally now onto the articulation on this and throwing it into the usual pose. This has a whole lot of awesome going on. I will mention, this has quite a few die-cast parts in it. It's very bottom heavy, it's rock solid, and it feels fantastic in the hand. This is one weighty figure. This can definitely pull off the usual pose with absolute flying colors except for in one area in particular. I do wish the ankles on this had a little bit more of a pivot to the side for those widespread leg kind of poses, like if it was going to throw the shield or something similar to that. However, this is, of course, a Iron Man style armor, so you're going to have this in the air a lot, and we do have a lot of nice articulation to complement that. When it comes to the head, it can look up very, very high to make sure that we actually get all those flying forward poses that we want out of it. On top of that, the neck is double jointed, so you'll get plenty of other poses out of that. The shoulders have a nice joint inside of the body, which allow the shoulders to move forward and back, which almost replicate musculature, which is very, very cool to look at. The ab crunch on this is absolutely phenomenal. It moves back really, really far once again, which would be great for flying over the top poses. It crunches forward a lot, and we've got a great abdominal side-to-side crunch too, so you'll get a lot of different over-the-top, almost acrobatic poses in air and on the ground with this. We have a nice extension gimmick at the upper leg, which allows the leg to move out a little further. Now, this doesn't give you much more in the lines of a kick up to the front or back. It does help definitely with a pulling off the splits, but what this really does work with is bringing the legs in together. So it means you're actually able to bring it past what I call the median line of the body to get these kind of almost, how do you put it, motion implying poses that looks like it's taken some kind of sharp turn in air, gives it some weight, gives it a real feeling of movement, and that I really like. Another aspect which is really nice is when you bend the knees, the calf does tuck up behind the upper leg ever so slightly, so you get a nice bend there. You kind of get this at the bicep too, but it is a little bit limited, but there is a little bit of a cutout there to make sure that arm can bend. And finally then, down at the feet, we've got this little moving bit of armor to keep that out of the way of the foot as it bends up. But it doesn't actually bend up all that far. I do find the feet is the most limited aspect. Like I mentioned, the inward pivot doesn't give you as much as I'd like it to, but we do have a little bit of a toe bend here, so that's nice. On the whole though, all the die-cast parts, the fluid joints, the nice articulation makes this an incredible posing experience. And when it comes to actual Marvel action figures, I don't have a whole lot, but this, posing-wise, has been my favorite by far. But anyway, that right there is it for the review, and I have to say I absolutely adore this figure. From what I've seen of this versus the Tech-On Avenger that I have, I think I might be preferring this one right here. When it comes to the aesthetics, the colors on this are mind-blowing. This is such eye candy. These colors are absolutely gorgeous. When it comes to the accessories, they're very nice. There's not a lot in here. The shield has a strange floppy extension gimmick that I don't understand what they were thinking about, but otherwise the shield looks great, the stand works perfect, and the hands work nicely. Lastly then, the articulation here is magnificent, feels rock solid with that metal die-cast frame, and that matched with its absolutely gorgeous aesthetics, brilliant colors, means this looks absolutely awesome in any pose. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you want one of your own, I got mine through Hobby Link Japan, link in the description, and as always, I will see you next time. As always, this video and every video would not be possible without each and every one of you guys who watches my videos, and special thanks to those of you who are supporting me over on Patreon and on the channel members, including Caleb Engelhart, Global Frequency Studios, Go Little Rockstar, Gunpla UK Limited, Joe, Kill Me Inc., Lauren Seahack, RG59061, and Van Fawn.